Hey guys, welcome to My Narrowboat Life, and this is episode 5, can you believe it? Now, as I mentioned before, I'm going to do something slightly different for this vlog. Instead of just giving you little snippets of my everyday life, I'm going to concentrate on a specific area, if you like. So I've called this video 5 tips to keep warm on a narrowboat in winter. So basically, I'm just going to go through my 5 best ways of staying warm on my narrowboat, and I hope you guys enjoy this new format. Let me know what you think in the comments. Continue to support the channel, it's really growing, which I really appreciate, and if you have any ideas about other videos, let me know, and I guess I'll see you at the end of the video. Bye. Hey guys, so it's time to talk about warm clothes. So the most obvious thing you should do on a boat is build up lots of layers, and obviously always have a warm hat, as I always have on, you probably notice, and a jumper. And I actually have several warm hats and jumpers, as I'll show you. So yeah, got lots of warm hats and jumpers, and of course there is the daddy of all items that keep you warm on the boat. That's right, the onesie. This thing is amazing. I feel like a big teddy bear in it. Look at this, it's so furry. Just covers my entire body. So yeah, they're the things I use to keep warm on the boat. A lot of the times I just like build up lots and lots of layers, and that helps to keep me warm. And yeah, hope that helped out a little bit. So this part is all about hot water, and there are 2 ways I make hot water on the boat. One of them is with the kettle, and the other one is with the engine. So I think I hear the kettle boiling, so I'm going to go and get that kettle now. Stew for a little bit. So yeah, the obvious way, as you've probably worked out, is a good way to keep warm on the boat is to drink lots of hot drinks. My preference is tea, and also there's another thing you can do with that hot water that you just boiled on the kettle, a hot water bottle. So I like to put this in my bed because it gets a bit cold down that other end of the boat, because not all of the heat from the oven or the stove gets all the way down there. So use a hot water bowl. And then I just go and pop that in the bed, and it'll keep it nice and warm. And sometimes, you know, even have a hot water bottle, maybe when I'm just sitting at my desk or whatever. Good way to keep warm. There we go. Right, I'll go and pop this in the bed. Perfect. Of course, there is one other way to use hot water to stay warm. I had the engine on earlier, so could have a shower. Lovely hot water. So I'm going to talk about insulation now. Now this is a porthole cover that kind of helps stop some of the heat escaping through the portholes, obviously. But the other main type of insulation you have on a narrowboat, or that I have, is a thing called spray foam insulation. And it's basically this kind of yellow stuff. And when I was first fitting out my boat, it was actually, we had to kind of like cut a lot of it back, and it was a horrible job actually. I'll post some pictures of that now. That keeps the boat mainly insulated. Now, narrowboats kind of have gaps. That's the best way of putting it, really. Nothing is completely sealed on a narrowboat, and that's partly for safety, and also partly because it's a massive piece of metal. It expands and it contracts quite a lot, and so in the summer it will expand a lot, and in the winter it will contract a lot, and the various fixtures and fittings need to be able to deal with that expansion. Somebody told me once that a narrowboat of my size can expand as much as an inch, so it changes size by as much of an inch. So yeah, that's the thing you have to deal with, and that's why there's lots of gaps on narrowboats. But yeah, as long as you've got relatively good insulation, that's pretty good, and things like porthole covers help. And also, I've got curtains, I'll show you them. So yeah, these are my curtains, and they're quite thick, so they help keep the heat in, but obviously they keep the light out. So if you want light in, they have to do that. But yeah, they're quite good in winter for keeping the drafts out and stuff like that. So that's the insulation, really, not much to it. Just trying to keep the cold out as much as you can on the boat. Hope that helps. Okay, probably the most obvious way to keep warm on the boat is obviously a fire. Now, specifically, I'm obviously talking about a stove, my Essie stove. It's kind of built in an old style, but it's actually made mostly of steel. I think there are a few cast iron bits to make it look authentic, but yeah, it's actually quite a modern stove. So basically, I'm just going to go through all the things that I do to get the fire going to help keep me warm, basically. Okay, so first thing is, I haven't been on my boat for about 2 or 3 days, so everything is cold. And I got in at 3 a.m. last night, so there was no point in lighting the fire. I just got a hot water bottle and went to bed. So I haven't checked my stove for a few days, and I suspect there's a lot of ash because I've been using my fire quite a bit recently. So first thing to do is empty out the ash. Now, always when you empty out ash from a stove, always make sure that it is very cool, the ash, because ash can actually retain heat for a very long period of time. And put it into something that's metal as well, don't put it into something that's combustible. And yeah, so I'm going to do that first. And I like to make a little kind of like trench, so that when I put my initial thing that's going to light the fire in, air can get underneath to it. If you've watched one of my videos before, you'll remember I talk about using dried orange peel. Some dried orange peel. I use this, I dry this off on the top of the stove, and I use that as a natural fire lighter rather than like firelighters that you can buy in shops and stuff like that, because sometimes they contain chemicals, and to be honest with you, I make so many fires, and no matter how careful you are, some of the smoke will get into the boat itself, and I'd just rather not breathe in chemicals, so I use natural stuff. And a little bit of sort of that kind of sort of, not paper, but it's almost like very thin cardboard that you sometimes get with packaging and things like that. And what I do is I get some little bits of orange peel, and I sort of fold them in to a piece of this thin cardboard, and basically make myself a little ball like that, and then one last piece of cardboard over the top. And so you can see, made myself a little ball there, and that I stick in the middle of the fire. And then my method of making fires probably stems from my sort of childhood, like being a scout and that, and being outdoors a lot and making a lot of campfires. And I like to think of it as I pretty much just make a campfire in a stove. And there are many methods of making fires, and a lot of boaters prefer a method called the top-down method. Now, I'll probably do a separate video on like me trying both out to see which is best. The reason I tend to do this one is because in the morning when I'm making fires and stuff like that, I'm a bit bleary-eyed sometimes, and it's quite good to just do something that you're familiar with that's almost autonomic. you know, that you don't have to think about too much. And I've been making fires like this since I was a kid, so I just can do it without thinking. So yeah, I'll start doing that now. Basically, it's kind of, I think it's sometimes referred to as either the tent or the pyramid method, and it essentially just means that from that base you just then put on smaller and smaller bits of kindling. And as you can see, I just have twigs, little twigs, often beech twigs, and I just start off with the thinnest ones and then gradually work out with the thicker ones to the outside until I built up a kind of a little teepee almost made of wood. So I'm going to do that now. So that's all the hard stuff done. Now I just light it, and as I probably said before, some of you may have seen, I use this little USB powered like plasma lighter to light stuff, because it means I never run out of fuel. Just get another little bit of cardboard, thin cardboard paper, and yeah, I'll just light it. Here it goes! Wish me luck. So the fire is going nicely now, but as counterintuitive and crazy as it seems, now is actually the best time to start thinking about the next fire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drying off some wood in the oven, and so these are some bits of pre-chopped wood. They're a little bit damp. They're already seasoned, but they're a little bit damp, so I'm going to put them in the oven just to dry them off a little bit. These are some sort of medium-sized like beech sticks that I picked up when I was on a walk, and I've split a few of them because they're a little bit big, and I'm going to put them in to dry them off a little bit. And this is some like twigs and stuff to get the initial fire going. They've like they're pretty damp, so I'm going to dry them off. So I'm going to chuck all of this into the oven. Cool. So this is probably my least favourite way of trying to keep warm on the boat, because it involves being outside obviously, and that is cutting wood. So I'm going to use my chainsaw, my axe. So what did you think? Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy the different format? It's a little bit different, isn't it? And the thing with Axe, I might have got a bit carried away with editing that, but it was quite fun as well. And I hope some of you got some tips from that, and I hope you stay warm this winter on the narrowboat because of it. So cheers for supporting the channel, guys. Like and subscribe, and in the comments leave any suggestions for any new videos or any questions you have, and I guess I'll see you in a week. Bye bye.